What up, everybody? This is your boy, Jonathan Evans. And listen, I'm excited about this one because we're talking about hypothetical reality. I know. Let's get into it. Okay, listen, I know you're probably wondering, what in the world is a hypothetical reality? How in the world can you experience a hypothetical reality? Well, I know that you are experiencing, and I experience times in our lives where we actually are living in hypothetical realities. A hypothetical is situations that you have in your mind that haven't actually happened, but they're just hypothetical. They're just not really real, but you're creating things in your mind that will determine how things will wind up in reality. And so I want you to understand that a lot of people operate in this hypothetical world, and it actually becomes their reality because the hypothetical determines how they operate in the reality. Let me explain it to you. My son, Jonathan II, we call him J2 just to throw a little swag on it. My son actually creates these all the time. When it comes to basketball, when he's playing basketball, he'll say to himself in his mind, I probably can't beat this guy because he's bigger than me. I probably can't drive past this guy because he'll block my shot. I probably can't cross this guy over because he'll probably steal it because he has the wingspan. So he's looking at what he's called to go against, and he's creating things in his mind for why he can't accomplish it, or why he can't overcome it, or why he can't go around it, or why he can't go above it. So then that hypothetical actually determines how he operates. He goes to the hole a little bit slower. He crosses over with passivity. He goes and jumps, but he doesn't give his all because he already has assumed failure in the hypothetical world. And the hypothetical world has then made it actualized in the real world. So now the guy does block his shot. Now the guy does steal his ball, or now the guy does become this massive defender that he created in his head because the passive nature in which he approached the guy came from the hypothetical world, and the hypothetical actually became his reality. Okay, listen, I'm trying to explain to you that a lot of you are living in hypothetical realities. A lot of you are allowing your fear to overcome your faith and therefore determine your future. A lot of you are allowing how you think about things that you haven't even done yet stop you from doing it, or stop you from doing it at full strength or full capacity because you've already predetermined that you're going to fail before you even tried. And a lot of us are allowing our fear to overcome our faith because we're allowing hypotheticals to determine our reality. Are you living in a hypothetical reality? Are you allowing situations that you have in your mind determine how your situations actually wind up? My son told me, see, Dad, I told you I'd get my shot blocked. See, Dad, I told you he'd steal it. See, Dad, I told you I couldn't overcome it. And I said, see, son, you told you he would steal it. You told you he would block it. And you told you couldn't overcome it. And that's why that hypothetical actually became your reality. I need you to understand that what you have in your mind and what you actually believe about God and what He's calling you to do actually determines your approach to it. And your approach to it determines whether you can overcome it. Your approach to it determines whether you experience the destiny and provision that God has already made in your life, the purpose that He has for your life. It's not that God didn't give it. It's just that your approach was so bad because you didn't really believe it. Ask the first generation of the people of Israel. He had the promised land, but they didn't get it. It wasn't because the promise wasn't there. It's just that their approach was bad. How many of us have a bad approach because of hypotheticals that we've created in our mind that have actually allowed that hypothetical world, in a negative sense, to become our reality? Now, you have some people like Michael Jordan and Kobe and people in the Bible that we'll talk about that couldn't even dream of being stopped. They couldn't even dream of being crushed. They couldn't even dream of someone being able to guard them or stop them, or obstacles coming against them that would block them from what they were created to do. They couldn't even dream of it. And guess what? They're the greatest of all time because their hypotheticals, their dream was based on a faith that what God has given me is much greater than what is coming against me. So the question is, what is in your mind? Is it paralysis by analysis? Is it, I can't do this, I can't go here, I'm too small for this, I can't speak for this, I can't talk well enough, I'm not eloquent enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not big enough, strong enough, and you're creating all of these I can'ts in your mind that are hypotheticals, that are creating more fear in you, which God didn't give you. God has not given you the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and discipline. And all of these hypotheticals are determining your reality. You're living in inception. You're living in a hypothetical reality. You're allowing what your mind is conjuring up in a negative sense to determine how you move forward in your situation and circumstances, to determine if you actually catch hold of your dreams and your destiny that God has for your life. Notice that in the Bible, God would always, you know it's a calling from God when God gives you something bigger than you think you can handle. Listen, one of the ways you know God is calling you is when you think to yourself, I can't do that. You automatically, that's why I want to get you ready, because you automatically will get something from God that's much bigger than you, much more profound than you, that's much smarter than you, that's way outside of your comfort zone. And God is testing your faith over your fear to determine whether you're going to allow the hypotheticals. While you look at this calling and you're creating all of these hypotheticals, are you going to come into this reality, or are you going to let your hypothetical become your reality? And either one could happen, even if you actually have a calling. This was Moses' reality in Exodus chapter 3. Moses' reality was in verse 10, God said, go to Pharaoh. Moses in the next verse said, who am I? How can I, who can't talk, how can I, who've been hanging out in Midian for 40 years, how can I, who left Egypt, go back to Egypt and tell Pharaoh anything? He started creating, based on him, these hypotheticals. I'm sure there was all these things in his mind for why he couldn't do what God said. And God is saying, are you going to trust me, or are you going to trust you? I've got a big calling in your life, but you ain't going to get it if you would rather live in a hypothetical reality than my reality. If you would rather live in your thoughts than my thought for you. If you would rather live in your destiny than my destiny for you. If you would rather live in your purpose than my purpose for you, then you can be stuck in inception, be stuck in a hypothetical reality, be stuck in a dream world where everything goes south, and that dream will become your destiny, and it wouldn't be as good as my dream for you. Some of us are living in hypothetical realities. And you're saying, see, God, I told you it wouldn't work. And God is saying, no, you told you it wouldn't work. And you're blaming it on me. It's the same thing as my son J2. A lot of times we're blaming stuff on God, and God is looking at us like, you're the one who said you couldn't do it. That's why you didn't do it. You're the one who said you couldn't overcome it. That's why you couldn't overcome it. You're the one who said you couldn't go to the next level. That's why you didn't go to the next level. I had it for you, but you got so afraid of what I presented that you left me and went to your own knowledge and understanding. That you forgot God is the one sending you to Pharaoh. You forgot God, Gideon, is the one telling you to go with 300 instead of thousands. You forgot, Peter, God is the one who made you walk on water. Now you're looking at the rain and the wind again, and now you're sinking because you went back to, oh, I'm going to get crushed. Oh, the bad things are going to happen to me. Oh, no, this is going to be a problem. And now you're sinking again. You were just walking on water. Okay, so the question is, are you going to live in the hypothetical reality of your fear, or are you going to live in the true word and allow that to be your faith? And you always know your faith, not by how you feel, because you can still feel, I'm unsure, but let's go to Pharaoh. You can still feel, Abraham, I don't really know where I'm going, but let's go. You can still feel, David, I'm not quite qualified, but let's go ahead and face this giant. You can go ahead and feel, Peter, I'm walking on a storm, but let me stay focused on Jesus. See, because your feelings don't determine your faith, your feet do. The question is, what are your feet doing? Even if you're creating things in your mind, J2 has finally gotten to the point where he's like, he's big, he's strong. Let's go get him. And that's when the father says, I'm proud of you, son. That's how you overcome. And now that I see him scoring on guys that are much bigger, I'm like, how did you get there? He said, I believe in what you told me to do. That my training has me ready for this triumph. So if you want to live in God's reality and not your hypothetical reality, you can't let your view of you block your view of God. I couldn't get where I am with all the deficiencies I have in my life unless I just said, let's go get it. And I'll let God determine how this winds up because he's the one who said it before me. That's the way it's going to happen. Listen, there is a mountain to climb, and I know the mountain looks big, but don't forget you got a harness and a rope attached to you. Even if you fall, you're already caught. I mean, think about it. Even if you fall, you're already caught. We're so busy looking at the mountain that we don't realize that even if I fall, I'm already caught. There was a man who didn't, ask this girl to be his wife because he just thought she would say no. They still ain't married. Because he let his hypothetical become his reality. Are you going to take a step? Are you going to do what God calls you to do? Or are you going to live in a hypothetical reality that you created and then blame it on God? No, it's not God. It's you. He has it for you. And now you have to disregard the hypothetical negative realities you place in your head about you and your insufficiencies. And listen, God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. He doesn't need you to be great. He's great. He needs you to be willing. Listen, be steadfast, unmovable, always abound in the work of the Lord, and know that it will not go in vain. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. I know there's so many people you need to share this with. Share it. Let's get it out there so that we can all grasp the calling that God has for our life. Let's go. What up, everybody? It's your boy, Jonathan Evans. I hope you enjoyed that video so that we can all learn, grow, and achieve together. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, become a part of our family as we continue to encourage one another. And make sure you hit the comments because I want to know about your story. I want to know what you've gone through so that you can learn. I can learn from you just like you learn from me. Let's get it.